What's up, guys? It's the Union Report. It's Andrew Martin and Chris Moulton. I tried to switch it up this time because I always say my name first and then Andrew's name, but I felt like the club's turning over a new leaf, so maybe we are too. It's a beautiful afternoon here out at Cardinale Stadium. Andrew, how you doing today?
Good. It is beautiful out. I'm glad it's not raining.
Yeah, definitely. We actually we're right there's kind of some shadow right under the thing, but we're kind of might need to lose my sweatshirt here shortly. So we're out here at the stadium today. We're just discussing some things that we feel like the club is still looking to do as far as roster spots. So you want to kick that off for us?
Yeah, I believe as of when we're recording this, I think we have 14 players officially announced as being part of the 2025 roster. So that means somewhere in the neighborhood of, I would say, 4 to 8 more players to add. They can carry 18 players on game day. And I think they typically will have at least a couple over that may not dress for
Yeah.
just for depth. So we're looking at what are they still missing to fill those roster spots, and I think we can probably start with the elephant in the room, which would be goalkeeper. That's the one position we
Oh,
currently have
I
no
thought
one.
when he said elephant in the room, he was talking about me, but no, we're
Not this
talking about
time.
goalkeepers. Yes. So um, definitely looking for some goalkeepers. We know Jeremy Clark, the new first assistant and goalkeepers coach, is very adept at identifying those types of players, working with them. We saw success over the last 3 seasons with Carlos Herrera and Anthony Siaha kind of seemingly coming from nowhere, and all now both of them have departed the club with excellent upward trajectories for both of their careers. So, are you thinking that's what the club's going to be doing next?
I certainly do. I mean, that's the track record that they've had in terms of developing players that didn't necessarily come to the club with a lot of panache behind them.
Mm.
So I could definitely see them doing that again. It's not really clear though if they'll bring in two younger, kind of unknown goalkeepers, or if they'll aim for one that's maybe a little bit more experienced and one that's a little bit younger to play the number two to kind of develop into that. Sort of like what happened with Anthony when he first came here. He didn't play for the longest time, and then he gradually won the starting job once he was here and put in a lot of work with the club.
Yeah, definitely. I know around the league, just looking at some of the recent news, Rosarena for Las Vegas just re signed with Las Vegas. So Steinwasser retired from Detroit. So I would agree. I think that it gives us a certain amount of flexibility, quite a bit of flexibility, kind of going off radar as far as finding those guys. I'd love to know what like archetype or what exactly they're looking for. I know from our interviews with Jordan, he has said the offensive scheme is going to be building from the back. So someone that commands the box well is able to get the ball going and start the offense rolling. What do you think they look for when they're looking for a goalkeeper?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with looking for someone that can distribute the ball well. I'm sure they're also going to be looking for someone that can fit into the system that they're building, and so they're looking for whatever that skill set is. Even if they may not have it currently, if they can envision that they can grow into it or learn it, I think that will be really important. Just looking at how they're building the roster too, it looks like there's definitely been an emphasis on youth, and so I'm also thinking that they're likely looking for younger players on the younger side in all likelihood, or at least one on the younger side.
Yeah, if Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, is available, he would be an awesome addition to the goal because he can stretch everywhere and get every ball. But no, I think as far as size, I felt like Anthony had, he was tall, but not really what's the word I'm looking for?
Rangy,
Well,
rangy. No.
you got tall and really skinny, and
Yeah.
then you got tall and kind of buff, and he was sort of
Right.
fell into that, and I feel like that's as far as body type goes, something they're probably looking for is good size, athleticism, strength.
Hmm.
I would imagine I don't fit that bill in any of those categories anymore. So unfortunately, I got to take myself out of contention. But um, yeah, I just feel like that's going to be so key because Yes, we have a ton of offense. Yes, our midfield is looking great. The back line, I feel like they might add another guy or two there just for depth. But we don't have anyone in the goal right now.
Right.
And
Right.
so um, I don't know. I feel like one thing that has been across the board with all the signings has been uh, a definite focus on character and values.
Hmm.
That's something that the club, if you read into the press releases, always it's like, oh, my values align with the club, or this is a player that has a ton of character. And,
Right.
and so those things, I'm sure there's a goalkeeper out there that's hungry for an opportunity to play in the
Two of them.
championship. Yeah,
Two of them, at least.
one, two. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But
And the way they've kind of rebuilt the offense with a really robust, I feel, midfield, and also kind of rebuilt the attacking position, also gives the possibility that maybe that will allow them, if they wish, to bring in goalkeepers that are maybe a little less experienced, because if they have more offensive backing behind them, they don't necessarily need to find someone that's capable of going out and doing a clean sheet every time out.
yeah, definitely. Man, I've been reading Inverting the Pyramid. I have to tell you guys, for so long, football or soccer around here, the whole premise was score more goals than the other team, and it's become the new mantra is like just don't let the other team score more goals than you. It's become very pessimistic as opposed to optimistic, and so um, just having someone solid in the box, someone that is got a good head on their shoulders is gonna they'll leave here guaranteed with a trajectory just like Carlos, just like Anthony, for sure. What else we got, Andrew?
Well, one thing that's been on my mind is just wondering if they will bring in any more quote unquote veteran players. They've obviously been bringing in players or returning players that have experience, but I think right now only two of the 14 on the roster are older than 26 entering the upcoming year. So that's going to give them, as of right now, anyways, a really young roster. So are they going to go out and get that 10-year veteran? Are they going to go out and get a quote unquote established star or really
Right.
well known player? Or are they going to continue with the youth route? I think right now the two players that we have that are older than 26 is Moby Fair and Alex Dixon, and I believe that's it. Oh, I'm sorry, Mael Malongo is 28, but he also is kind of a young 28 for the league because his
Yeah.
professional experience is a little bit less than someone that age might typically have.
How old's Carlos
Oh,
Guzman?
you're correct about that. So three players. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's 30 or 31, I believe.
Yeah, so you have Dixon up front, you have Moby Fair and in the midfield,
Yep,
and then you have
Guzman.
Guzman on the back line. So
Yep,
definitely veteran presence at every stop on the field,
right.
which is good. I don't know that unless Messi wants to come and play here, which I mean, dude, look at the weather, bro. No humidity at all. Not like Miami, but we might not be able to pay quite as much, but hey, the scenery, that's where it's at, man.
Right.
So I feel good about having that because then you have a vet that can really work with those frontline attackers. You have a vet that's able to impart some
Yep.
wisdom and knowledge to the midfield, and then I mean, Carlos Guzman, congratulations, by the way. He announced that he'll be getting married soon. So that's so awesome. We're
Yeah,
happy for you.
absolutely.
But that guy, man, just a fountain of football knowledge in that guy that he can really just, I mean, it's just going to run over
Yeah,
into these other guys on the back line. So that's encouraging.
absolutely.
So I think on everybody's mind really is goalkeepers at
Yeah,
this point. And I feel like the club will probably put something out in the next either this week and the next coming days, probably, just to what's the word assuage
yeah,
everyone's what
yeah.
is it?
At the end of the assuage, but at the end of the day,
Yeah,
we're getting pretty close to preseason. So
yeah.
yeah,
Open tryouts
yeah,
are now taking reservations. So make sure if you guys are interested or you know someone who has a love for the beautiful game that they sign up. Make sure they're out here in tip top shape. we saw last season, Pierce Galloway earned a spot on the